we're done. We're out of here, you know. So I had to give them, this is what we pay at other facilities and that type of thing, because they probably make $100,000 to $200,000 a day renting these cars out.
Okay.
So, you know, so for us to come in and pay a normal track fee and stuff is, you know, so the negotiations were, well, let's just split the day. You still get your customers and we still get to put on a race. So it was a win-win for both of us.
Yeah, what I like about it is it's a new location. I mean, Vegas is a destination. There's a lot to do in Vegas. It's not like some of our other tracks are out in the middle of nowhere. But I'm a big fan of just checking out new tracks. And being that a kart hasn't been on that track yet in a competitive official format, I'm actually, as I get older, I'm enjoying those experiences. Just like, oh, never been to that track. Let's go check it out. And it doesn't matter if it's a perfect track or not a perfect track. It just is more of the experience. And it seems like a lot of guys were really excited for the Speed Vegas event. But I'm glad to hear that it's postponed and not just completely canceled.
No, we might not get a date this year, but we will get a date next year. And down the road, if the racers like the facility, and the Speed, and of course, Speed Vegas, these people, they're not race promoters, you know, they're businessmen.
Yeah.
And so this is all new territory. And if they like it, then the talks were for 2021, we would do 2 days, late spring, early fall, but under the lights.
Oh, that'd be neat.
Then we would start our program, let's say at 4:00 in the afternoon, run into the nighttime under the lights. They stay open all day, and then we would have the track at night under the lights. So that would be a first. A 1.5 mile road course under the lights.
Yeah, the racing in the lights is it's a different experience. It's so much fun. I've only done it a handful of times in my karting career, but even if a track that you know like the back of your hand, it's amazing how you change your senses when it's at night.
Sure, and it's so they've already been set up where they don't have permanent lights at the facility, but they've already done some night stuff during SEMA, and that they bring out the big lights and set the lights up. So they've already had that experience, and they know where to put them to make it safe driving at night. So I was already geared up, looking forward to 2021 under the lights.
Yeah.
But I try to look down the road. I try to look at new things, new places to go. I try to look at destinations. Laguna Seca is a destination versus Buttonwillow. Buttonwillow is not a destination. It's just a racetrack along a highway.
Yeah.
You know, Sonoma is a destination, but it's not to me, it's not a family destination like Laguna Seca is. Now, Speed Vegas is a destination track. So that was another thing that brought in, I think, the popularity of wanting to go to it, is it is a destination. The driver can take his family into Vegas.
Away from the track, there's a lot of stuff to do in Vegas.
Sure. So the track itself is just on the edge of town. So I think the nearest casino is like 3 miles away.
Okay.
So it's not that far. It's not that far out of town. So it was an easy commute. It's right next to the highway. It's right next to, what is that, Highway 15 or 10? 15. 15. Yeah, 15. So it's you can't miss it heading into Vegas if you're coming in from Southern California. So it was right there. And of course the track, I keep talking about the track, but we had a big upstairs conference room, rest area, lounge that was going to all strictly for the kart racers. They had bringing in a catering truck because they have a snack bar, but it's not a full-fledged snack bar like at a racetrack. So they had drinks and chips. So they were bringing in catering trucks for the food. They have shuttle buses that run back and forth to the casinos on an hourly basis. So it was really going to be just a fun day.
Yeah, and that would have been a cool experience. So we'll definitely have you back on when you get some details on Speed Vegas hammered out. And again, you have your Willow Springs event coming up. Was that June 27th?
June 27th. No, Willow Springs is June 7th.
Oh, June 7th. My bad. Yep.
Thunder Hills, June 27th. And then I don't think we have a date.
Then I skip all the way out to September. NCK,
September 20.
September 21st.
September 21st is the 3 miles at Thunder Hill.
Yep.
So we have July and August, but to run a kart when it's 105 outside and you're half an inch off the pavement, most people it becomes a miserable day.
Yeah, it's pretty miserable unless you're going to Laguna.
Yeah.
Although I say the last few times I've gone to Monterey for a race, it's always been what I think May or June. Monterey usually had a SCUSA Pro Kart race, and I always looked at the weather. And it's like, all right, it's going to be 105 degrees in Sacramento. Sweet, it should be about 75 degrees in the Monterey Bay. And the last 3 or 4 times I've been down there, it was just as hot in Monterey. It was still 100 degrees. Like, are you kidding me?
Yep. And the best time to run Laguna, weather-wise, is March, maybe early April, and late February. That's the best months to run Laguna Seca.
Okay.
But as far as weather goes, and then a lot of times people will ask me, well, how come we don't go to Laguna in the summertime or better weather, things like that? All these major racetracks have their fee structure set up that in their prime seasons, it'll go from we'll use Laguna Seca, for example. A late February, early March date costs, and these numbers are just, I'm making them up, but let's say it costs $15,000 a day to rent the pavement in late February, early March. Well, we go to June, July, that now costs $35,000 a day.
Yeah.
And Sonoma is the same way. What we pay for our annual Thanksgiving Day weekend race costs there again whatever the price is. Let's say $15,000. If I wanted a June, July date, it goes up to $30,000. So we can put a date on in them prime months, but who's going to pay $1,000 entry fee? Because the racer,
that's always the give and take of a race promoter, right?
Yeah. So an example, the last 2-day weekend at Laguna, we as a club, the time we walked out of there, shelled out $51,000 to put on a 2-day race.
$51,000.
$51,000 to put on Laguna a 2-day race. That includes the renting the facility, hiring my scoring staff, and that type of thing. So you take $51,000 and you only have 85 drivers show up. Either you charge them $1,000 to enter, which they're not going to come, or things like that. So now we're at that give and take point to where what is too much to pay for an entry fee. You know, and then if we
some
pick
of the tracks like a Laguna, where they're expensive, maybe they just make it on the calendar every 3 or 4 years, and then the anticipation builds up. Because you've done that in the past, and it seems like the first year, people just can't wait to get back.
Right, and because it becomes a bucket list. So, and you know what the turnover is in the average karting person, regardless of what it is, they're only in it for 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so, the ones that stay in it longer, then there's someone that didn't stay in it very long.
Right, and then so the average sprint racer, you know, let's pick a 25-year-old. You know, he finds out a buddy's into sprint racing and stuff, and he goes out and gets a kart, and of course with today's economy and things like that, I think every red-blooded American male wants the baddest, fastest thing he can set his butt into right off the bat. So first thing they do is they go buy a shifter kart, and they have no mechanical skills. They're getting beat, and they burn themselves. They burn themselves out unknowingly.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, as you say, no mechanical skills. And this is one of the things I've started to do on NorCal Karters. I've just been posting the most basic videos ever. And it's been very helpful for me to buy and sell stuff on Karts List on Facebook or Craigslist, because you get a lot of questions. And we almost have to rewind ourselves and, okay, when did we first get started? And I mean, it's some of the questions I have that people are asking me. It's like, oh, I just need a brake rotor. They don't know what chassis they have. They don't know anything. They just need a brake rotor. And they don't quite understand that in karting, nothing is a lot of stuff is interchangeable, but there is no standard. It's like calling O'Reilly's and saying, hey, I got a white car. I need a brake rotor. And the guy at the counter is like, okay, well, what kind of car is it? It's like, well, I told you it's a white car. And the same is true in karting. So I've been trying to put out these simple videos. I'm working on one now where it's a brake rotor, how to measure a brake rotor, how to measure the bolt pattern. But you nailed it with the mechanical ability. And it seems like the newer generation, they also just don't take the time to research it because they're so used to having like a Google app on their phone. Oh, what's this? What's that? Etc., which is great. But then in karting, we don't have that resource built in where it's like, oh, all this information is there.
No, and it's as each new generation gets into it, and I don't think it's a society issue because it's they don't teach hand skilled trades in high school anymore.
No, you have to go to prison for the good machine shops because they're taking them out of high
schools. Tell me about it. Yeah, no, and they are. An example. When I was before I retired from my job that I had in metal fabrication, we would get from American River College. We would ask every year, that we're looking for welders to send us their best welders after graduation. And these guys were fabulous welders, but they couldn't read a blueprint. They couldn't read a tape measure. And if they were TIG welding, they'd want to sit in a chair and TIG weld. And it's like, no, this isn't real world. But they were fantastic welders, but they just couldn't, they couldn't do it in a trade. And that's the problem. I've met racers. I have racers now that pay people to change their tires.
Yeah.
Because they've never done it.
I charge people to change their tires.
I have.
Yeah.
And it's like,
funny.
Why
go ahead.
And it's, why are you charging me $20 a tire?